Hey everybody, it's Quicken and welcome back to 5 Fact Friday. So there was no 5 Fact Friday last week, so now we are picking up the slack and we're right back to 5 Fact Friday. Last week I actually took a tour of the Mormon temple in Philadelphia. As I didn't know, so you guys might not know. Actually, I didn't know anything. Everything I was filled in on was by people who said they had some sort of knowledge about Mormon people on my Instagram, but they just built the temple in Philadelphia, so regular people could tour the temple, and apparently this is like a really rare sort of thing because people can't go in the temple unless they're Mormon, but I guess when they build these Mormon temples and introduce them into cities and whatever, they let local people go inside the temple and look at it, and it was like really crazy. I mean, we have watched them. I mean, I ride that way to work every single day, so I've been watching them build this temple, and they build it, you know, with like real stones and stuff like that. I don't know the language, but the architecture was crazy. And when I heard like a couple people were talking about taking tours of it for free, I'm into free fun. So we went to the Mormon temple last Friday. And you know, they said no cameras inside the building, and I'm usually pretty respectful of all that stuff. So I have no pictures to show. We took some photos outside, and that's about it. So that was where I was last Friday. This Friday I want to jump in because there have been questions going around and I want to answer them for you. And I think the number one question is about my pins. So at 100,000 subscribers, I told you guys I was going to introduce merch, and some of you guys have been like, where is it? And at 100,000 subscribers, that's when the wheels started turning for the merch. Some of you people, if you've been around for a while, may remember Aurora. She designed the Quiet Cool Kid flash sheet, which was the first merch for the channel. That was last year. This year we collaborated. She sent me some images for the pin. I love everything she does. Follow her on Instagram, it's amazing. So she sent me some images and I decided to go the like enamel pin route. I think that pins are wearable art, and I think, you know, we show support for our favorite artists when we buy their merchandise, and I thought pins, you know, it's unisex, it can go anywhere, you don't have to be tied down to a shirt if you're not a shirt person, if you have too many shirts, if not a shirt person, you could buy one for your friends, whatever. And t-shirts are coming, and that is why I'm announcing that the shop is going to open next Friday. It exists, but there's nothing on it. So I think a lot of the critique with the Quicken prints were that they were expensive, and this is a way for me to hit different price points because, you know, I can't just assume everyone's situation, how old you guys are, if you're students, if you're in college, if you just don't have a budget for YouTube merchandise, do we? So you'll see when the shop comes out that I'm going to introduce things that kind of fit the spectrum of price points, so you can decide like how much you want to pay for whatever. I'm going to have the pins available as just the pin, and I'm going to sell them for as little cost as possible. Obviously, you know, Aurora created them, and you have to put money towards your artists. So I'm going to sell the pin bare bones minimum, and then you can upgrade the pin so it can be on a cardstock print that is going to be just like photography from me. I like to take photos. I've been taking photos for years, and I think that some of the images, they'll be randomized, and some of the images maybe you've seen before or you've never seen before, and I think that that can be really fun. So that will be like a step up. And that is just a way for people who are like, listen, I have this much money, they can buy the pin with no frills, just the pin. And then if you're a little more like, I want to get the whole experience, then there'll be a little thing for that. And then shirts, and then options to customize the shirts as well. that's as much information as I can give right now, just because everything is kind of a slow process and I really don't want to jump the gun on anything. But the pins will be available to you at different price points depending on how you feel and how much you want to contribute to Quicken merchandise, and then, you know, stuff like that. We did host a scavenger hunt in Philadelphia for people just to kind of have the opportunity to take photos with stuff and maybe find it, especially if you are like 14, 15, 16, maybe you don't have a debit card. When this stuff comes out, you'll have no access to it. If you lived in Philadelphia, you could have participated in the scavenger hunt. I'm going to have a scavenger hunt vlog all about how cool it was. It was just like a really fun thing to do. This is our first night of the scavenger hunt. We just posted our first kind of like major clue, major key onto Instagram, and I'm hoping that it's pretty obvious. I think we like basically show it like locked up abroad right there. It only has 29 views so far, but we literally just did it. And it's like really windy out tonight, so we put it in like this fucking cage. So those are the questions about the pins. They will be international, they will be for sale. And you know, if I sell out, if there's a demand for them, maybe they'll be reprinted. But my whole thing with the Quicken store is, you guys know, or maybe I'm telling you for the first time, that a lot of artists and talented people have come and they either watch my channel or they become more apparent to me, and because of my channel I'm able to contact them, and I think it's created a really great place for artists and talented people to come together. So I think with that, I would love to showcase my favorites, and if the pin sells out, it's another opportunity for another artist to come in and, you know, have a chance to get their name out there, create something awesome for all of us to enjoy, and have a tangible product. I mean, when I got the pin in the mail and opened up the box, I couldn't believe it, and I think it's so cool to give people that chance. So that's the background on the merch so far. Sorry about this ring, I know that's bothering somebody out there. I have a cover for my ring light, but until I think some serious like equipment upgrades are in my future, but for right now, student loans for Fact Friday. So I got this question and it said, what does bad luck mean to you? I see you use it from time to time. Is it a tattoo thing? And I wanted to answer this because I've seen like criticisms of me online, like, oh, like, are you ever gonna grow up? And I think that bad luck in my life is not just like a like something I would have across my like leather jacket, like, yeah, tough times. And I do have a bad luck tattoo, but that happened way before I kind of took bad luck and labeled myself with it. And it kind of happened, like, not to dive into like too much of my personal life, but when I was like 17, 18, leaving my parents' house, like some of you guys may know I was kicked out of my house, I experienced so many pitfalls, like so close together all at once. I remember I'd moved in and out of so many places, and at one point I was a little settled. I was living with my best friend's sister, and I think like in that time, like, we were being threatened to be evicted, the transmission on my car didn't work, so I couldn't go to school, and I had the flu, like, all, like, in a day. And at the time I worked at McDonald's, and McDonald's said I couldn't call out without proof. I didn't have health insurance, like, check off the list. So I called my grandmother, and I said, hey, I don't know what to do. I can't go to the doctor, and I can't go to the hospital. And up until then, like, if something bothered me, I would just go to the hospital. And I was like, all right, you're an adult now. Stop doing that. Stop going to the hospital. So I remember I called my grandmother and she drove me to like a doctor's office, and I paid for a doctor's note, and it cost me $50. And I remember so vivid because I couldn't drive to the doctor's office because of transmission, and I needed it for work or else I'd get fired, whatever. And I remember all of that like didn't really faze me. It was just me waking up and then, you know, picking up the pieces of my life every day. And I must have been in the car like doing small talk, getting the note from the doctor's office, $50, just so I could call out of work and lose more money. I remember my grandmother said, "I've never met anyone with bad luck like you." And it was chilling. It was incredible, because someone had finally, validated that. Someone had finally noticed that my life was such a fucking joke, and that every single bad thing just kept happening to me, and every day I would just wake up and, you know, all right, what's on the plate today for however else I can really fuck up. And, you know, my grandmother is such an important part of my life, such a key player, like definitely the mother I look up to, and not like the actual mother I have. Like, and you know, there are people out there who experience that. I've talked about it here and there on this channel, and you know, you don't want to get too deep into it because you don't want to discourage people. But for the person who essentially raised you to be like, what the fuck happens to you every single day, like, it's not, and it was so cool because she didn't blame it on like actions that I was doing. Like, she didn't sit me down and she was like, you gotta change your life because look at all these things that are happening to you. She blamed it on like a second entity, like something we can't change and something we can't see and experience. She blamed it on something that almost doesn't exist unless you believe in it. And I think it was, yeah, the winter I was 18, I decided like that I was going to take hold of that and like welcome bad luck into my life. And I'm not saying like I feel better about it, because I don't. Like, bad luck sucks. But for this woman to like dub me as having bad luck, and all the shit that happens to me is not because like I was raised wrong or I was raised poor or like I was lacking something. She was like, oh, all that stuff happened to you and it's just out of your control because you just have bad luck. So that's something I've always like treated like that way. And for people to come in and be like, oh, she's a sad girl and she's doing sad stuff and like, are people still emo? I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't know what everyone else is doing over there with whatever catchphrases they have, but sometimes some of us out here aren't just using things as cliches. We're like using them to fucking get up in the morning and understand things about ourselves. So that's why you might see me like plaster bad luck on certain things, or like it's my bio, or I have a tattoo of it, or like I kind of claim it as my own, and I really don't. Like, you can have bad luck too, whatever your grandma says about you, but that's what it is for me. It's not some like bad luck 13 kind of thing. It's like a real thing and like a real shit time that I keep going through, and it's just so much easier to blame it on bad luck. So I got this message on Tumblr, and it was like, hey, what do you think about fur from thrift stores to repurpose and make your own? Are you supportive of it or against it? And I think, you know, this is a thing that vegan people, vegetarian people have to consider. And I mean, I've never thought about fur. I don't know if I even like it. Like, I saw those like Fenty Rihanna Puma slip-ons, and I just like out of curiosity googled to see if it was faux fur or not that I could ever get my hands on them. But I've never really saw something that was fur and was like, that's cute on me. Last year I bought like a faux fur scarf online, and when we got it, like, we swore it was real. Like, even John was like, are you gonna throw that thing out anytime soon? Because I'm pretty sure it's real. So even faux fur, I read something about it, like some like Urban Outfitters exposed that sometimes things labeled faux fur are actually real fur too. Faux leather, I mean, you read it, it's made of plastic. So the old vegan adage is, if it's secondhand, is it okay? I have some leather goods. My grandmother and I are the same size shoe. I have some leather goods for my grandmother that have sentimental value to me. But I also understand like buying something from the thrift store to give it second life. And I've been trying to do that more often. I mean, how much more toxifying is fast fashion than recycled fashion? But here's the thing, and here's what I used to preach louder than anybody. Now, you know, I'm a little more quiet about this stuff, but the thing is, and mean more than ever, if you wear something really cute or really cool, or maybe it's not even cool at all, if you leave your house and you have something that is faux leather or is faux fur, and you accidentally influence somebody, are they gonna go to the store and buy the real thing? So, if I leave the house in like my little fake leather vest, I'm like looking right at it. If I leave the house like that, I've got like a bomb outfit on, I'm waiting for the train, someone sees me on the train platform and they're like, that's a good idea, I should get a leather vest. Are they gonna go to the store and get a real leather vest? So that's the whole thing. So you have to decide where you fall in that spectrum and how you exist and how it may influence others. So I might not be leaving the house like with a vegan shirt on or whatever, but am I doing harm by wearing fake leather goods or recycled leather goods? I don't know about fur. I don't think I've ever thought fur was cute. I think I've just seen too many images where it fucks me up. And the faux fur scarf, I swear last year, it was real. Obviously from a thrift store you're buying real fur, but I don't know. I don't know if, I mean, that's not like something in my fashion. I don't want to be very loud ever. But the leather thing is something to think about, and I still don't know where I fall on it, because I do wear anything my grandma gives me that used to be hers, no matter what, no second thought, I'm wearing it. That's just how it has to be. That's just how I feel emotionally. And I'm someone who has hurt others by having certain ethics, and I have made clear and like finite decisions because of that. And I wrote a short story about how my brother's dad made me a cake. He looked up the recipe for a vegan cake. He made it for me. And when I asked him what sugar he used, he said Domino. And I told him I couldn't use it because I ethically don't use Domino. This was a couple years ago. And he said, okay, I won't make you anything anymore. And I remember after that day and after hearing his voice and feeling that feeling, there's just a ton of stuff that I let slide through because I mean, where does love and where does your family fall into all of that? If your fucking grandmom gives you a fur coat, I would say if you feel compassionate for your grandmother, you can wear it, you know. If someone gives it to you, you can decide how you feel. You can be offended too. You can be like, what the fuck, you know I don't wear fur. Haven't you heard me talk about being vegan for the last 10 years? Like, you could say something like that, of course, and that feeling's valid too. So it's touchy and I can't answer it either way because every day I instantly decide how I feel about it. I don't have a Quicken rule book. It's always conflicting. So I try to mention, if I'm like on Instagram or something, I try to say like faux whatever if I can. I feel like it's a little tongue-in-cheek at this point, like that I'm a vegan person, and some days I wake up and I don't want to tell anyone. So maybe some days I don't project it out there, and I think there's always someone who asks a question about it. I got this comment the other day that like put an extra year on my life that was like, you said Mark Cross is a vegan tattoo artist, and then you went ahead and said you were bringing him a cake, but cake isn't vegan. And if I ever leave John, it's because I'm dating this commenter. But cakes can be vegan. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew that cakes could be vegan? So, you know, if you don't march around with fucking vegan written on your forehead, sometimes people forget, but that's all I can say. And maybe with the things I said, you can think about how you feel, but how do I even feel? So this final question says, hey, I noticed that in one of your tattoo sketches in your background, it is signed for Quicken. Did you ask the dude who did that for you to call you Quicken? Or do you call yourself Quicken in daily life? I know your real name is Amanda since you use it here from time to time, but now I am confused. I think we're all confused. I think this is a topic that comes up sometimes on this channel. But, you know, as I've said before, I've been Quicken for a really, really long time. I have a video all about how the word Quicken came and its orientation and what it means. Most of you guys know the acronym, Quiet Cool Kid No Doubt. And, you know, it's been about a decade since I created my Zanga that was called Quicken. And I've told you guys before, like, in a time, I'm old, in a time where in my high school, people probably used the computer and the internet once a day. Like, think about that. I've used the internet 40 times today. This is a time when people would use the internet. We didn't have email addresses, you know, we were just fucking kids. Nobody communicated with you through the internet. I had a Zanga, you know, some of us had blogs, MySpace was around, we were existing on the internet, but it wasn't like now. This was a time when I started my Zanga and, you know, I had a science class and the girl in front of me in science class turned around one day and was like, I've read your Zanga. And this was the first time where I was like, oh, fuck, hope I didn't say anything weird. And that's where Quicken came from and that's where Quicken started. So it's been around for so long that of course it's an identity that is me. It's not like an alter ego or like anything like that. I mean, sometimes you may refer to me, like you may hear me say like Quickened Inspired, but that's just because I want to use a hashtag. Or because you guys, you come and you see this channel and it's just like easier to identify. I wouldn't say like, this is Amanda Inspired. Because it's not. Like, Amanda's the name I go by in everyday life. It's the name on my ID. But when I exist on the internet, I treat myself as Quickened. And people who have met me through the internet and then they transition into knowing me in real life, having relationships with me in real life, you know, I think we all have the words that we read on the internet and we say to ourselves in our brain and we never ever say it out loud. That I feel like is kind of like Quickened. Like, you know me from the internet and that's where you've seen me. Then you meet me, then we become friends, but maybe you're like, her name's Amanda, right? I know her name is Quicken. So Mike King made this flash sheet for me years and years ago. I think it has a year, 2012. And I mean, Mike and I met through Tumblr and then we became like best friends or whatever. And I think before he moved away, he made that for me. And if it would have said Quicken, if it would have said Amanda, whatever, but it was almost better that it said Quicken because it paid homage to where our relationship first began, and it was Tumblr. And I think about Mike's username, and I think about Mike's different pseudonyms and stuff, and in everyday life, it's pretty common for me to refer to him, refer to you guys, refer to anybody else by their internet handle. And I think, you know, we experience that. And some of us don't have maybe clever handles or names that really lend themselves to being a second name. I think Quicken has always been able to do that because I exist as Quicken on the internet, and the meaning behind Quicken is something that is self-identifying to me. So being called Quicken is just affirming, and it just makes a lot of sense to me. And you can call me Amanda if you ever meet me. You can do that. I feel like YouTubers, when they tell you their real name, it's like a little secret that we give each other. And I'm like, I love you guys, so you can call me Amanda. But whatever you think my name is, that's what it is. And when people call me that, it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters a lot. It's a huge deal. But you can call me whatever, and both is fine, not breaking any rules. So, this is 5 Fact Friday. Stay tuned for the scavenger hunt vlog. I'm sorry it couldn't be more global, but just know if I do any traveling, I've had so much fun with this, and a huge thank you to the people who went out and found the pins. If I ever come to your city, just know I'll do it too. I love you guys so much. Give this video a thumbs up if you are here and alive for 5 Fact Friday, and if it's your first 5 Fact Friday, hit that subscribe button if you feel. I love you guys, and until next week, bye. Hey everybody, it is Quicken, and welcome back to 5 Fact Friday. I have a lot of really awesome questions from you guys, from Twitter and Tumblr, and I am excited to get right into